Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Olivia's Blooms. Today I am very excited. I'm going to be harvesting my sweet potatoes. So I ordered sweet potato slips back in it was actually January. They arrived around early May and I planted them about mid-May. These are centennial variety. They do well in my area. Normally sweet potatoes can be harvested between, you don't want to do it earlier than 90 days, but some varieties take as long as 120 days. These are a faster growing variety. They are supposed to be ready around about 100 days. So we are just about there, a little bit past actually. And so I wanted to dig some up. I love eating sweet potatoes. I'm the only one in my family who really loves them, so I don't need giant tubers, so I don't mind if they're a little bit smaller, which is why I kind of wanted to harvest them as soon as they're ready. But what I'm going to do is just pull a couple plants out and check the tuber size and see how they're doing. So one difference between sweet potatoes and regular potatoes is regular potatoes sort of tell you when they're ready to be harvested because the plant turns brown and falls over. Sweet potatoes, on the other hand, do not do that. So you just kind of have to go by the days. Another thing about sweet potatoes is they are a vining plant. So you can see this bed just looks like one giant vine. And I had about 16 slips in here. The recommendation is to plant one for every kind of cubic foot, so I probably should have only planted 12. I pushed the spacing a little bit, so we'll see how they did with a little bit of closer spacing, but I couldn't waste those extra few slips that I got. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull out these plants here. I've got some tomatoes growing back here. And this will just make it easier for me to dig out the tubers. Ooh, look at this, already pulling out some beauties. Let's see if you can see that. The sun is a little bit challenging here. But nice, long, beautiful sweet potato. I'm going to start with about half the bed, and if the tubers aren't a great size, I might leave the rest to bulk up a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see what we get. And I'm definitely even going to save these little ones because these will be delicious baked. Harvest some tomatoes while I'm here and they're falling. You can see what a sweet potato vine looks like. And if you've ever grown an ornamental sweet potato vine, you'll be familiar. All right, so I've got a pretty good space cleared here, moving the drip tubing out of the way. Now I'm going to try, I have with me a couple forks. I'm going to try to do it as much as possible by hand just because I really don't want to pierce those tubers. They don't last quite as long if they have a giant break in their skin. They're more susceptible to becoming infected, but these are really deep down in the bed. And this soil is a little bit tough to get through, so I might need to use the fork. We'll see. You could also use the trowel. Oh, and I already broke one by hand. Not ideal. Now is also a good time for me to harvest because it's been very dry, so the soil should wipe off pretty easily. You know what? I am going to have to use my fork because this soil is very compacted. That's interesting. Alright, so here's a look at the number of potatoes I pulled out of half my bed. Now I did harvest about 2 more just when I was testing it, but to be honest, disappointing. I think I pulled more tomatoes out of that half the bed than I did potatoes. You can see how much space that took up, and I got probably triple the amount of regular potatoes out of the same amount of space. So what I'm gonna do is see if time was the issue and if they needed more time. So I'm gonna leave this other half in the bed. I'll give it another couple weeks and see if we can get some better results. And if I don't, then we'll have to troubleshoot other issues. Maybe it's the variety, maybe it was the amount of water. Although they got regular water, so that shouldn't have been the issue, but we shall see. And sometimes crops don't go perfectly, but you know, I'll focus on the bright side, and I can always drown my sorrows in my abundance of tomatoes. I have beans galore and tons of peppers, so overall I can't be too sad about this. Well, I hope you guys had as much fun in the garden as I did today. I'm going to take these inside and make a delicious sweet potato curry. I will see you guys in the next video. As disappointing as that sweet potato harvest was, these sweet potatoes are delicious in this sweet potato curry. Almost makes up for it. Fingers crossed we'll get more in a few weeks.